So, Namaskar, welcome to Honest Astrologer. Today I have a very special guest, my friend Nitya Gopal Das Ji, who is also known as @Geeta Guide on Instagram and YouTube. Please go check out his channel, do subscribe, and there you can find some really great pearls of wisdom which he shares freely. Couple of his shorts, he's also into shorts and stuff. So, in very pithy one liners, you get some really great wisdom from Gita. And so, despite all my love for Mahabharata, I have never been able to understand Gita. So, ever since we have been friends, we have been pestering him to tell us about this. And he has been kind enough to, volunteer to do that. So, welcome Nitya Gopal Das Ji. Such an honor. The channel is yours.
Thank you very much, Vijay, for your generous welcome. I don't deserve all of that, but that's your generosity. I'm so blessed to have you as my friend. Thank you very much.
Yeah. The biggest question which I get, and I have seen this a lot, many people try Gita, okay, including me. We did try, at least I couldn't decipher anything very, मेरे समझ में नहीं आया, let me put it simply. Okay, I couldn't understand. Mahabharat gave me boatloads of wisdom, and I'm still thankful for those writers. Gita, is it only an enlightened person or a very well-trained person like you who can understand it, or how does the common man go around and trying to understand Gita?
Yeah, I really appreciate your honesty that you couldn't really decipher the complexity of Bhagavad Gita, and that's why you're honest astrologer. So basically, if you see the Bhagavad Gita knowledge is meant to guide anybody who is at any phase in their life. So that is why Krishna chose Arjuna to put into a delusion wherein he was completely in a materialistic understanding. And from there onward, Krishna started speaking Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was by himself was a great warrior. He was a great learner. So how could Arjuna be in such a petty situation? What is explained in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita? If you were to study the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, many things that it is irrelevant. Why the first chapter exists at all? Krishna starts speaking from second chapter.
Right.
But the first chapter creates the context in which Gita was spoken. It was spoken for Krishna's dearest friend Arjuna, and Arjuna was in a greatest difficulties of his life. He said, if you study the last 20 verses, 15 verses of the first chapter, Arjuna's pitiable condition is explained. How his body was shivering, how he was crying, how the body was reacting, heart is burning. The whole kapha vata pitta, the whole body got disturbed. His mind was reeling. He was giving different kind of intellectual argument, which was not befitting a person of his stature. What Krishna chastised in the second chapter. If you see, Krishna meant to speak Bhagavad Gita for everybody, especially in this age we are living in. Many may think that it was spoken 5,000 years back, but it has relevant because one statement comes from Arjuna, that is in the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadadam. My dear Krishna, this you are asking me to control this mind and go to Himalayas and perform meditation. You see the basic mind, the basic thing what I have, it's chanchala, it's very flickering, it's everywhere like a air. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Pramati means very pramatta. Pramatta means very like a mad person he is. Pramati balavad is not only mad but very strong also. Just imagine a small child. He's everywhere. He won't listen because he's very strong in his determination, and he's going crazy. How could he control the child? Correct. That is what Arjuna is saying. This is what my mind is, Krishna. And Vayor Eva Sudushkaram. According to me, I am living in Dwapar Yuga. I am like a warrior. It is easy to control wind. If you give me a task of controlling the wind, I can control the wind, which nobody can. But it is difficult to control the mind.
Yes.
Isn't it same statement is very much relevant to all of us? At least to me, I can say for myself that sometimes the mind can go so haywire, can go so into different directions. It's so difficult to bring it back.
Yeah.
That is one statement from Krishna. The other statement from Krishna, he says in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says, Atha kena prayaktoyam papam charati purusha anichanapi varshnaya balad eva niyojitaha. Is like an extension of the same verse. Here he's saying, what is that force, Krishna, within me, which is impelling me to act sinfully, although I don't want to? Isn't it all of us come across situation wherein we don't want to act in a certain way, but we end up doing it?
Right.
We have a lot of guilt, a lot of embarrassment, we have a lot of shame hidden within ourselves. Why? Because we did something in the past which we didn't want to, which we didn't intend to do, and we end up hurting the most loving, the most caring, the most affectionate people and most closest people to us. Why is that? So if somebody says, oh, this is not relevant to me, then I could say that you are not from this age.
So today's times, with all this uh, insecurities around people, people getting tired, people losing their way, youth being so confused. We have access to so much knowledge, but a lot of it is so contradictory that, and let's say a young man wants to start to understand Gita or use Gita to help him, and there are so many gurus which are talking about it. So, what would be, you are a young man, मैं आपको आप करके बोलता हूँ, you are more than 10 years younger to me, but since you are a man of God and you have dedicated your life towards benefiting humanity, you are somebody who's supposed to be respected. How would you tell a young fellow to control his life, and what can a youth today learn from Gita?
This is a very relevant question in today's age, that how can, from a young age, we can start imbibing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday, I was speaking to one of my cousin back in India, and she was sharing that how she's trying to become devotee and how the colleague, like classmates, were trying to deter her. Oh, this is not for this age. You're like still 15, 16, you're like very young. It should be done at the end of the life, at the end of 70s, 60s. So she was kind of asking questions that what should I reply? What should I say to them? That whoever asks that this knowledge is not meant for me, it is meant for somebody who is old, somebody who's a sannyasi, somebody who's not, he's living off grid. He's not living on this in this world. If you were to read the manual of any device you purchase after after its expiry date, would you, the manual is to be read as soon as you get the device so that you
Right,
can optimally utilize it,
right,
right? At the same time, it, Gita is an educational, because Krishna is trying to educate Arjuna. You would never see, except few exceptions here and there, the old people are going to universities and studying. It is always a young mind, always a curious mind who will want to absorb the knowledge.
right.
It is an educational system.
Mhm.
It is like a GPS of our life. So similarly, we can see the Gita is relevant from the time we can start becoming aware of this world. And Prahlad Maharaj says, from the age of 5, from Gurukula system, you should start imbibing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So, like a precursor to your answer, that how come it is relevant to all of us? Because it is an education. It is like a manner of human form of life. And how it is relevant, we can understand. There is something known as the difference between monk and monkey mind.
Ha, ha.
Monkey mind will keep hopping everywhere,
Right.
from one branch to other branch to third branch to fourth branch, unnecessarily exhausting himself, exhausting his energies. And the monk mind is very focused at one thing, living on purpose. So, so the monkey mind and monk mind, there's a fundamental difference in both of that. The monkey mind living from the noise of the mind, and monk mind living from the wisdom of the heart and voice from the heart. The noise of the mind and the voice of the heart. The noise of the mind says, what is noise of the mind? Noise of the mind means what I have been reflecting people's voices in my head. What people think is good for me, what society think is good for me, What my parents think is good for me, what my friends think it is good for me. Most of the life we keep on leading somebody else's life. We never get to find my own true calling, my own true purpose.
Right.
And that is a heart voice.
Mm.
So the difference between nature and culture means what is in the head, the noises of cultural, so many different cultures. And the nature means my own true nature. So to be able to reduce the noise of the mind so that we can amplify and start hearing the voice of the heart, that is how we are disconnected in this world. My heart is disconnected from my mind. And the moment they become disconnected, the life become completely haphazard.
Mm.
There is no synchronicity to the life.
Mm.
So you always feel a splitted personality at different levels, Note that when you're diagnosed with a splitted personality, then only you're a splitted personality. We get so much lost in fulfilling different roles of this world that we lose my own true identity. And the moment we lose our own true identity, that very moment we lose the purpose of life. The very moment we lose the life itself. So Krishna in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so that is what Arjuna was. Arjuna was lost in his different roles. He said, "My role is as my role is as student, and Dronacharya is my teacher. My role as a grandson, Bhishma is my grandfather. My role as the cousin brother of Kauravas, and they're my brothers. How can I fight with them? My dear Krishna, you're asking me to fight with them. It's like it's better to go to Himalayas. It's better to live a very sannyasi life, although I'm a Kshatriya, but I cannot fight." He just gives up. He says, "Karpane dosho pahato subhava prachami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha." I am Bhayakam dharma sammuda chetanaha. Nishitam bruhitanme Shishasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. That's why Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. Krishna, please tell me what I should be doing now. And Krishna did not speak till the time he surrendered to Krishna, said, "I am your student." He was playing the part of a friend earlier before Arjuna said this verse in the eighth verse of the second chapter. And after that, Krishna gave the true identity to Arjuna. If you see the fundamental of Bhagavad Gita from 2.12 to 2.30, these 18 verses, 17 verses forms the foundation of Bhagavad Gita, and that only works to reinstating my identity. And the moment I am reinstated in my identity, I can then play different roles.
Mm.
That is not deniable. It doesn't mean, okay, if I know who I am, then I don't have to play all these roles. You can play the role and you can actually play it more efficiently. A person who is understanding Bhagavad Gita is not supposed to be leaving this world, which is escapism. Is supposed to be engaging with this world.
Yeah.
Not so enjoyment when we get lost in this whirlpool of different roles. Escapism is that I just don't want to do anything with this world, and the engaging is that is what Krishna explains. Maya arpita mano buddhi tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaran yudhyacha. Fight for me. Engage in this warfare. Not for you. I know you're not interested in gaining this kingdom, but fight for me. That is the highest true calling of a spiritual being, to surrender to the God's purpose. So the fundamental is to be able to reinstate my true identity, and based upon that you can play with different roles, and then you know where you're heading, what you're doing, you're aware. That awareness comes from the the teachings of Bhagavad Gita.
So, the tragedy here is, like you said, you will not find old people in universities. You will not find young people in, dharmic institutions. It's tragic. Actually, it's tragic because I talk to these young kids, and my view is far more spiritually keen, and these guys are spiritually awakened as compared to previous generations. So if a young man wants to start to learn Gita so that he can, maybe my 18, 20-year-old version, I tried to but couldn't make sense of it. So today with the internet and everything, where should somebody start? An 18-year-old watching this podcast or 20-year-old, 25-year-old?
So as you rightly pointed out, we are living in the information world, like a ocean of information all
Right.
across internet, right? There is something known as information paradox. What is this information paradox? It is said, what do you think, Vijayji? How much data do we consume from our eyes, from our ears, from our senses? How much data we store in our mind every day?
No idea.
About 17.7 GB.
Wow.
Like we are recording, 1 hour would take almost 2 GB of data.
Right.
And we have been watching with these eyes.
Right.
We have been hearing from these ears.
Right.
We've been constantly bombarded with different type of informations.
True.
So in this ocean of information, people are in a competition. Let me have more and more. But there's a difference between information and wisdom.
Right.
The information paradox says you can be more wise if you have less information. Sometimes information can be very, very misleading,
Yeah.
and we do not know its source. So the source of information and for what purpose it was spread, that is very, very important. So the my service to myself, I say my service to myself before anybody else, is to be aware what I'm consuming and how I'm consuming. That is first level. What is the purpose of that person to spread that information, and what is the source, authenticity of this? And always discriminate between information and wisdom. Wisdom is so information can make you more egoistic, and wisdom will make you humble. So the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, what I personally have come across, and that has been the most transformative agent in my personal life, is the Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Mhm.
You can read this. Bhagavad Gita as it is, written by Vishwaguru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He came to West in 1965 to teach this message of Gita. He said that this is the one thing which Britishers forget to take from India. That is the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have come to give you something, not take away anything from you. Mostly Indian comes to US to take away the wealth of US to India or for themselves. But Prabhupada came to give the knowledge and to give away, because he finds himself to be so enriched, and he's that I know that how much knowledge they're lacking in, and how much benefit they can get by understanding this message. So I'm just came here to very compassionate with this knowledge. So that has been my journey last 15 years. First time I read the Bhagavad Gita, it has hit the core of my identity. It was very shattering, because in a sense that what I was doing, how I was doing, it was completely wrong. And I was thinking I know everything. So I would suggest, and this Bhagavad Gita comes with like beautiful translations, purports, like very, very liquid language, very easy language, in a more, which is more applicable, more you can apply in your day-to-day life easy. So I found this knowledge to be relevant in our day-to-day life as such.
Great. Great. Thank you so much. Then, there is this thought where पेरेंट्स से कि साहब बच्चा गीता पढ़ेगा तो सन्यासी हो जाएगा एंड they'll quit the world, and I often tell them Gita was not told at top of a mountain. It was said right in the middle of the bloodiest war of the time. So it is unlikely
That
a
is
person who
right.
understands Gita can go and run back. I don't know about Gita, but the kind of violence Mahabharata unleashes, it's mind-boggling. Just putting a Bhishma on a Sharshaya and you are, cutting the bodies and all that. So it was, when you read Mahabharata, it's mind-boggling violence. So if Krishna could prepare Arjuna for that kind of violence, what makes you think people would run away? So how would you convince a parent to encourage their child to study Gita?
Very beautifully put that how much blood, how much war, how much the pain was unleashed
Yeah.
from the battlefield of in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Mahabharata. And Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita right in midst of before it was happening.
Yeah.
And Arjuna said, I'm not gonna fight. I'm done with this fight. In the second chapter.
Yeah.
And you would not believe, by the end of Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, he says, Nasta moha smriti labdhva tvat prasadat may achyuta. Nasta moha, all my moha is nasta now. Everything is gone. All the delusions are gone. I've regained my strength. I've regained my memory. And I will do whatever you say. And what did Krishna say? Fight, fight, and fight. Don't escape. So, as you said, right there in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna prepared, and in just a span of 45 minutes, Krishna just spoke Gita to Arjuna in 45 minutes.
Wow.
And we can discuss one verse for 45 minutes and still not understand it.
True that. True that.
So that kind of a caliber Arjuna had. So, if especially parents, you see, the first verse is very relevant for the parents. I always say that. The first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Dharma kshetre kurushetre samaveta yusava mamaka pandava seva kim akurvata sanjaya. Dhritarashtra, the father of all the Kauravas, in the first verse saying, after assembling at the battlefield of Kurukshetra, what is my son and the son of Pandu doing?
Right.
What are they doing there? They're in the Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. What would they do? They would fight. Then why is he asking what did they do? There's a very deep meaning in here. The deep meaning is he did not want the war to stop. And still, although he knew that my son are on the adharmic side, that's why he says Dharma Kshetra. The very first word is Dharma Kshetra. And he says it is my son should not get influenced by Dharma Kshetra. Because I want them to become king. It is my unfulfilled desire. I could not become the king, but at least my son should become the king. So a very important application, what comes out from this Dhritarashtra's phrase is that parents want their unfulfilled desires, their life to be lived through their children.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That is not love. If we love our children, we should not use them for our purposes. And most of the time, I have seen counsel many parents. The fundamental flaws in their parenting is, with all their good heart, they want to do all the wonderful things with their child. But they themselves are so wounded, themselves are so unfulfilled, themselves are so have lived in the poverty. At least their child should do, because they are their extension.
Right.
They grow out of the body, but they have not grown egoically. For parents, it is they want to lead their life through their children, and which is a very big tragic for children's. The difference between love and liking is, when you like a flower, you will touch the flower, you will unplug the flower, you will smell the flower, and you will throw the flower. But when you love the flower, you will go, water the roots, take care of it, fence it, and nurture it and grow it, and let it grow individually. So similarly, when we love our child, we should know what is my child inclined toward. What is that which will help him in his personal growth. If for selfish reasons we're thinking, we have that fear. Now that fear comes because if my son goes away, then who will fulfill my desire?
Yeah.
If my daughter goes away, who will fulfill my desire? Is it about you or is it about them?
Very good point.
The true love is always about them.
This is my beef with Indian parents. That has to stop. Yeah.
Because I'm investing. You see, the fundamental is I'm investing. It is me who have raised. It is me who have given birth. It is me who is investing my energy and my money. So it should be for me. What is ROI for me here?
Yeah,
it is a deep.
So we need to call out that, if a monk is calling out the selfishness of Indian parents, आपके बोलने पे सुन ले बुजुर्ग हमारे. So please continue. Yeah.
So it's about loving and not taking advantage of a person. So loving means, what do you want? And lust means, what do I want? There's a book known as by M. Scott Peck, Road Less Traveled.
Mhm.
Very beautiful book. He writes on spiritual psychology. He says, love is the most difficult thing to do in this world. And it has to be most disciplined. The most disciplined thing and the most difficult thing in this world is to love.
Right.
We think, no, it's the most easiest flow of emotions, love. Love means you take responsibility for other person's growth, and that other person take responsibility for your growth. Yeah. For parents to truly love their child, hear them out. What do they want? What is their desire? How can they be guided? And what could be, and if Krishna found the knowledge, and actually Krishna churned the all Upanishads. He says, Sarvo Upanishado Gava Dogda Gopala Nandanaha Partha Vasa Sudhir Bhokta Dugda Gita Amritam Mahat. The Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. Like the milk is the essence of all the cows, the complete cow. So if Krishna choose the verses of Bhagavad Gita for Arjuna because he was his greatest friend, greatest guide, greatest well-wisher, so can I be better guide? Can I love more than what Krishna loved to Arjuna, to my child? No. So if you truly love your child, you should give the offering what Krishna gave to Arjuna. That is the verses from Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna clearly says what you just mentioned. Chatur Varnayamaya system guna karma vibhagashaya. That your inclinations and your nature should help you guiding toward your career path, not what people want. Like I was saying, the cultural, the noise in the mind, and the voice of the heart. Voice of the heart knows what is best for me, and the person will naturally will get inclined toward it if that atmosphere of care, affection, empathy, and love and openness is being provided to me for my personal spiritual growth and material growth as well.
Very, very well said. Very well said. Great. So I was talking to a few friends and they got to know that I was talking to you. So I got a lot of questions. I know we are short on time, so I'll just ask two, three, so that people know how Gita can be used to answer few, difficult life
Sure.
questions. So
Yeah.
number one, I think you have almost answered that. How can one live a righteous life?
The righteous life is beyond purpose. The righteous life is live a dharmic life. The righteous life is live from your internal guided system. We have the GPS, which can help you taking wherever you want to go. We have internal guiding system, and the conscience, it always speaks. We know what is good, what is bad. That is one thing for sure. Anytime I am going to do something wrong, feeble voice comes for the heart. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like heart cries, I don't want to do it. But mind, no, I want to do it. Mind overrules the heart. And what is in the heart? Because Krishna is seated in the heart, the God is seated in the heart. And what is coming from the heart is righteousness. And that is what he is speaking in Bhagavad Gita. So when we read the principles of Bhagavad Gita, when we apply them in our life, that is the highest dharmic principle you can live just by following Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita.
Great. Second question is, what is the purpose of life?
The purpose of life, I always say, there are primary purpose and secondary purpose. The primary purpose of life is to discover yourself, if to find your lost self. Because unless you find your true self, who is the engine of this body, unless you find yourself in this world, who you are, what is your relative position in this world. And beautifully Vyasadeva put that as athato brahma jignasa. It is a time in this human form of life to discover yourself, to rediscover yourself. That's a primary purpose, to rediscover yourself and to find who is the driver seated in this bodily car. The secondary purpose always becomes what I want to become. The purpose is never to have something. No, if somebody says my purpose to have $10 million, my purpose is to have a big mansion, my purpose is to have a big degree, my purpose is to have all these materialistic things. I have seen many people who may have so many gifts in their life, but they can feel completely dissatisfied. I have experienced, I have known people who have so many followers in their Instagram, YouTube channel, but they feel so lonely deep within themselves. I have seen people who are so much of information lying in piles and piles of information, so many degrees, but they don't know, they feel directionless. I have known people who control so many people as CXOs, but they feel helpless and powerless. Isn't it a paradox of life that we want to have something and we think that is going to make me fulfilled, satisfied, happy, and content? That is never going to happen. So the purpose of life is never to have anything. That becomes its byproduct. The purpose of life is to become. Somebody can say, I want to become happy. Somebody can say, I want to become confident. Somebody can say, I want to become loved. Somebody can say, I want to become peaceful and satisfied and liberated. So the secondary purpose is always to become something. So identify what you want to become, not what you want to have. Once you become, already you have what you have become. Then we can have like secondary, tertiary purposes, but they're the primary purpose and secondary purpose. If we are having these two wheels, then we can peacefully keep leading our life in a purposeful way.
Then there is this question about afterlife. There are people like me who are like interval ho gaya abhi, and we have our expenses, we have our children, we have other responsibilities. How can we ensure that we have a better afterlife?
Better after. Yeah. It's a very interesting question. Now, abhi to settle ho gaya. I am financially free. Children are settled. I'm comfortable in life. So what next? Anyways, life is going on nicely. So what's gonna come next? Taurus versus Scorpio.
This is more of a Pisces
So,
question.
Pisces question, yeah.
Yeah,
Afterlife.
afterlife.
Yeah. So basically, afterlife we can settle. The most important thing is in this life is to understand that in this body itself, I have changed my body. Let's say, according to medical science, every 7 years, all the bodily cells changes.
Yeah.
Every 7 years, all the bodily cells changes, right? So now, if somebody is living for 91 years, 13 times he has changed his body. 13 times. According to medical science, that is not what I'm saying. And same thing Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara. That you have been constantly changing. Life of every, like as a baby, you have experienced yourself as baby. Through some imaginary process, you can go to your baby's body and you can feel what you are experiencing there. Then you can grow up and you can become 13 teens. You are still experiencing the body in a different flavor. And you become adult, mid-age, then you become old. Soul is same, but the body is changing.
Okay.
So now, what is death according to Bhagavad Gita? The death or the afterlife according to Bhagavad Gita is a drastic change of the body. But me as a person remains same. If me as a person remains same, and it is me who is going to carry forward in the next lifetime, the question should be asked, what I have done for myself as a spiritual being. I have done something for the body, fine. I have done something for the mind. Body means comfort, body means a lot of resources, a lot of comfort of life. For the mind, you have children to give you emotional comfort. For the intellect, you have acquired a lot of knowledge. But what have you done for the soul? What have you done for yourself? So whatever you have done for yourself, that will gonna be carried forward in your next lifetime. So if you really wants to care for your next lifetime, start caring for your soul today.
Okay.
Because that's what Krishna says. Only thing what is going to go forward with you is the spiritual knowledge, spiritual activity you have performed, and that is gonna keep uplifting you to the next ladder. So if he truly wants to be a person of having a living doing caring for my better future, they say if you make things easy, life will become hard. If you became things hard, life will become easy. That's what pretty much Krishna says. What is nectar in the beginning poison in the end. What is poison in the beginning, nectar in the end. And it may look like poisonous. Why I have to think about my spiritual well-being? What relevance does it have now? It's so hard. My mind is pushing me. My body wants to give me comfort. So many nice children's family. I am so absorbed, so happy I am. Life is going so easy. The things are going so easy for me. Why I have to unnecessarily make it complicated? But life is going to become hard after your existence because life is continuous. Life is never discrete. You can have one phase which is like this 100 years to be more pleasant, but what about next 100 years? What about the next 100 years? So start doing right now anything for your spiritual soul, for your spiritual well-being, for your spiritual development, for your spiritual wisdom. That is the best thing you can do even after your afterlife development.
Right. Where to start? That is the next question.
Where to start?
Yeah. So
We already
I am,
started.
yeah, no, no. So let's say somebody who is 40, 45 in my age group, काम का प्रेशर है, घर का प्रेशर है, ईएमआई है, सारा कुछ है. And I have this feeling कि बस 20, 30, 40 years from now, I'll be dead. And like you said कि अपने लिए आत्मा के लिए कुछ नहीं इकट्ठा किया, जो कुछ है शरीर के लिए है. Where do I start Atma ke liye? Where do I start? Because let's say I am somebody, I'm just taking an example, with no spiritual practice, nothing, just कभी मंदिर चले गए, हाथ जोड़ लिए, कोई खास पूजा उसमें बैठ गए, but where to start with this spiritual knowledge? And I'll tell you, I have seen people enter their Kestu Dasha and ask these existential questions. So it would guide them. Please guide us. Where to start?
So where to start? First thing is be convinced that this is important. Time may not be there. Time, everybody have 24 hours in a day, but it is priority which makes things important or not important. There's always a curve. You can just hypothetically imagine a quadrant XY axis, urgent and important.
Right.
We always tend to do something which is urgent and important because it is urgent. I have to take care of it and it's important for me, right? Something which is not urgent but important. The spiritual activity always comes in that particular quadrant. It is not urgent, but it is important. And how to convince me to do this important thing, but which is not urgent, is to simply put it like this. If my real growth, my real me is gonna be developed only when I do something which is important and not urgent. Like going to gym, for example. It's not urgent, but it's important for your long-term welfare of the body at least. So coming back to your question that how do we, my first thing was be convinced that this is important. And you can be convinced it is important by understanding the temporary nature of this life. I have had so many experiences. Are they still with me? I have had so many people in my life who were they were the like center theme of my life. Are they still today with you? I have had so much of money, I may not have it now. So understanding the temporary nature of this world and getting a sense of permanency, because everybody look for permanency. So awareness is the most important thing. Becoming convinced is the most important thing. You can just do some bit of a analysis in your life. I thought that was very important in my life 20 years back. Is it really important now? May not be. It has lost its importance. So convinced that I'm not doing the most important thing. Let me also start working for the most important thing. Once you are convinced, then you will steal the time. And then start becoming aware. Awareness is such an important thing. Without awareness, without acceptance, growth, transformation never occurs. Aware, become aware. Just have a basic questioning in your life. How am I feeling today? And what I intended to feel. Am I feeling, although I have a beautiful laughing face for the people, but is my heart crying? No, my heart is completely discontent. What am I missing in my life? What am I missing in my life? Become aware. What am I missing in my life? What am I missing in my life? And the end point you will come to, I'm missing my own care, spiritual care. So by being convinced, by becoming aware that I'm missing my spiritual welfare, you cannot stop yourself not dedicating yourself at least some part of your day for your spiritual development. And the action item could be just read one page of Bhagavad Gita every day. Page by page will make you a sage.
Good one. Good one.
Just read one page of Bhagavad Gita every day and start becoming aware. That's all. And you will start, the energy will keep building up. And that's how we take it from.
And the last question for today. Some people have asked how to get good karma.
How to get good karma.
Yeah.
So Krishna explains in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that Jnana Agni Dagda Karmanam, that the Agni of Jnana can burn all your Papa karma.
Wow.
The Agni of Jnana Agni Dagda Karmanam. All the karma get destroyed by the transcendental knowledge. I'm talking about bad karma first, then I'll come to good karma. So it is said that that's more important, more relevant for us.
That's absolutely more important. Yes.
Yeah. So you see, you do bad karma. What is the foundation of bad karma? And why karma exists at the first place? Two things. Why I did the bad karma and why karma exists. I did bad karma because I was ignorant. Because we are so ignorant. We ignore things. Let it be. Who cares? Ignorance. Ignorance means ignore. Ignore the law of life. Ignore how this world is functioning. Ignore. Let me be whimsical. I can do whatever I want. Right? That's of the origin of bad karma. Whimsicality and that impulsiveness. I can do whatever I want, and I don't get because of ignorance. So if you perform some action because of ignorance, only thing which can reverse is if you reverse ignorance. And what is antidote of ignorance? Knowledge. The moment you come to knowledge, that very moment, the foundation of that karma goes away. And the second thing, why karma existed in the first place, the karma is not meant to be punishing you. The karma is meant to be teaching you. Life is a school, and I'm a student of life. What have you not learned in your previous life? And because of that, you did that bad karma. And because of that, you're suffering now. So, and the themes will keep repeating if you don't become aware, if you don't have that knowledge, if you don't learn the lessons. So from Bhagavad Gita, we can learn the lessons and we can shake the foundation of bad karma itself. And once we have done that, then what happens? Good karma, soul always inclined toward good karma. Because soul is always good. So if you remove the ignorance from my soul, whatever action I would do at a soul level will always be a good karma.
Wow.
Because I am doing from a higher purpose. I am doing from a spiritual platform. I am doing from the deepest part of my existence, which is connected to deeper part of existence. So once you remove the cloud, once you remove the dirt from the diamond, what remains is diamond. And diamond is always valuable. So there is one book known as Interior Castle. It talks about, very beautiful book, in a biblical way it has been written. It says that we are all intrinsically diamond. Everybody is a diamond. We're just losing our shine because of that dirt around us. Once we remove the dirt, what comes out is the shining diamond. Wow. The shining diamond, brilliant diamond, have its own worth. And it would be at a place where it's supposed to be. Not in the diamond mines, but in the diamond shop.
Great, great. So this is a book called Interior Castle, right?
Interior Castle.
Great. Any other books you want to recommend apart from Bhagavad Gita? I think it's a good time to say. But closing so that
Yeah, the
people
most
can maybe,
important thing.
yeah. So you can
There
suggest.
is one book known as Science of Self-Realization.
Okay.
Is a compilation of many articles, which is also referred as a textbook in Harvard School of Divinity.
Okay. Okay. I think you gifted me that
Science
book.
of Self-Realization. Yeah, I
It's
think
in
I
my
gave it to you.
library. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes.
A book known as Coming Back. It talks about reincarnation. A lot of case
Okay.
studies are taken.
Okay.
Coming Back.
Hmm.
This book known as Beyond Doubt and Illusion.
Hmm.
Different philosophy have been discussed from a Vedic perspective.
Hmm.
Like I can just, but this is a fundamental book.
Great.
Science of
Great.
Self-Realization, Journey of Self-Discovery, Coming Back, Beyond the Doubt and Illusion.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to check out this Coming Back book. Sounds very intriguing. So I think
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out. Guys, if you like this, I am sure we all can benefit from the wisdom of Nitya Gopal Ji. So I'll mention his channel in the description. It's called Geeta Guide @GEETAGUIDE. It's also on the screen. So please go and subscribe to him. And once or twice a month, I will try my best to bring him on this channel. He's a full-time ISKCON monk, so he has a lot on his plate. Okay, but we'll try and bring him. So from the next session, we will start formally the Gita teachings, and the God wishes something else happen. I plan to start Mahabharat classes, and then you came up with time, so we decided to do Gita. So thank you so much for blessing us, and I look forward to the next session. Next session will start with Gita chapter 1. So if you guys have any questions for Nitya Gopal ji, please write in the comment section, and we'll see you in the next video. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm so honored and I really appreciate your kindness and association.